See, here's what the FBI did. They raided, they took the files, they spread them out over the floor. They brought them with them, these top secret cover letters that you see right there, and they placed them over the documents that they had just put all over the floor. And then they took this picture. So the evidence has been tampered with. Remember this woman? There she is, Fani Willis. She's the one who was having an affair with the special prosecutor that she appointed and then funneled tax dollars through the prosecution of Donald Trump, the unprecedented RICO charges against him and his advisors and his lawyers for questioning how the ballots were counted. You know, those ballots we just talked about that were duplicated or missing. Yeah. So she's being prosecuted by her. She funneled hundreds of thousands of dollars to the private law office of her boyfriend. And then her boyfriend took her to Costa Rica and really fancy restaurants. Well, she was not removed for that conflict of interest. But Donald Trump and his lawyers, they said, well, wait a minute. No. We're going to appeal this decision from the judge. So they took the appeal to the appeals court in Georgia. And as you can see from Mia Cathal's write-up here at Town Hall, bad news for Fani Willis and bad news for the Democrats who are trying to use lawfare to put a presidential candidate behind bars so you can't vote for them, because the Georgia Court of Appeals announced earlier this morning that they will in fact hear President Trump's appeal of the Fulton County judge's decision to not disqualify Fani Willis. What does that mean? It means they saw enough valid evidence to call into question that judge's decision. They think that there's enough there to actually hear the appeal. Not only is this bad news because they could come down and say, absolutely remove Fani Willis from this entire thing, but it also, through the due process of our jurisprudence and the president and his co-defendants' rights in Fulton County, this extends the process even further. They were so hoping to see Donald Trump in those horizontal black and white stripes and like a little Monopoly man with the ball chained to his ankle because he's going behind bars. That ain't happening in Fulton County, not anytime soon, because the process will continue. And if you complain about that, or if you want to call it delay tactics, I have a suggestion for you. Next time you want to use the law in a way that it's never been used before, in a completely unprecedented way against a candidate for president, when you're trying to help out your party's candidate for president, maybe you should make sure that the people doing the prosecuting aren't even close to a hint of corruption. Because in Fulton County, that's what you got. And so now the appeal process will go forward, and it doesn't look like that case is going to trial anywhere close to Election Day. And by the way, that's not the only case against Donald Trump that ain't seeing the light of the courtroom before Election Day, because yesterday, the judge overseeing the so-called classified document mishandling case in Miami, she indefinitely postponed the trial date that was supposed to begin later this month. She said, yeah, this trial ain't going forward because there's way too many unresolved issues to be buttoned up here and cleaned up with regard to the rights of the defendant. That would be Donald Trump. You see, even if Jake Tapper hates him, he still has constitutional rights in this country, and his rights have been violated. One example of the violation, here, let me show you this picture. You remember this picture, don't you? I mean, how can you not? How can you forget this picture? This picture was everywhere. You remember at Mar-a-Lago in the early mornings before the sun came up, it was dark. That made the FBI police sirens look that much more dramatic. Over 30 armed FBI agents stormed through the doors of Mar-a-Lago and raid the home to get those classified documents that Donald Trump is on the verge of selling to the Saudis, including nuclear secrets, undermining our national security because he's a spy. He's going to be good. They charged him with espionage here and violating state secrets by having these classified documents. So this is critically important they get in there. Well, within a week of that raid, the FBI released this picture. It was everywhere. It was everywhere, right? And just look at it. Obviously, Donald Trump is guilty because here's the classified documents just spread all over the floor of Trump's office at Mar-a-Lago. What an outrageous handling of classified documents. So, like, he should be thrown in jail without even a trial, right? Well, we've now learned something about this picture. We've learned quite a few things about this picture. In short, this entire thing is a setup. This picture is staged. This picture is, doctored wouldn't be the right word because it would make it sound like somebody photoshopped it to look like something. But no. They did it old school way. They staged and set the whole thing up so they didn't have to use Photoshop. Those classified documents, and by the way, it hasn't even been proven that these are classified documents. They got to prove that in a court of law as well. But these documents that you see in this picture that was everywhere, those documents were not on the floor of Donald Trump's office when the FBI raided. They were neatly filed in a filing box, a box that was in President Trump's private office behind a lock that, by the way, had been approved by the National Archive and Secret Service months before the raid. And that office not only locked, but also enjoyed security from the private security firm that patrols Mar-a-Lago on a regular basis, but also by the Secret Service who patrol Mar-a-Lago on a regular basis because, a former president lives there. Now, that's a far cry from the way Joe Biden kept his documents in the garage, in a box, spilling over next to a can of turpentine and Hunter Biden's cocaine, allegedly. Not only were those documents originally in a box and the FBI deliberately took them out and spread them all over the floor, but you see those yellow and red cover sheets that say top secret on them, right? Like, see this one right at the bottom there that says secret, SCI. It's all red. It's like unmistakable. How can you not know that these are top secret classified documents? Obviously, these are top secret classified documents. Those cover sheets that say top secret and classified, those were not attached to any of the documents in Donald Trump's possession when the FBI raided and then spread them out over the floor. Now, see, here's what the FBI did. They raided, they took the files, they spread them out over the floor. Then they brought them with them, these top secret cover letters that you see right there, and they placed them over the documents that they had just put all over the floor. And then they took this picture. This entire piece of evidence, so-called, that was spread out to the media, the whole thing is a sham. Not only were those documents not spread all over the floor, but the documents never had that attachment that said top secret classified. The FBI put it there. And Jack Smith, the special prosecutor in this case, admitted so in his court document filings earlier this month. By the way, here's the best part. When the FBI put those documents back into the boxes and kept them as evidence, they put them in a haphazard way so that they're impossible now to re-identify and find for the defense. It actually, all the cross-references and the markers and the tabs, they don't match. And the defense has been saying to the judge, we can't even find the classified documents that the FBI claims they put back in because they've been misfiled. How can we defend Trump from having these classified documents when we can't even find them? And Jack Smith's office has admitted in their court filings, the FBI didn't properly put those back. So the evidence has been tampered with from the very start. And that's why that case has been postponed indefinitely. And of course, the other case that Jack Smith has brought against Donald Trump for his actions on January 6th, where he gave a speech and therefore that means he's, an insurrectionist or something. That's also postponed because the president's due process is now sitting at the Supreme Court to determine what his immunity might be. Whatever the decision from the Supreme Court, most people think that it'll be sent back down to the lower court to actually determine what part he gets immunity from and what part ends up going to trial. But then that will probably be appealed back to the Supreme Court. So that case ain't seeing a courtroom either. I guess my bottom line in all of this, guys, is that all but the case going on up in Manhattan right now, which is a complete and total fraud, everything else seems to be pretty much over until after Election Day. So the plan the Democrats had to win the election without you even casting a vote, It's not going to happen. And so now the Democrats are crying. They're crying in their beer big time. And I guess they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. I guess maybe Jack Smith will bring up new charges against Trump. We'll see how that sticks.